forecast update. So we'll start with Bitcoin. So let's get into it. Before we get into it, just to say that this is just what I'm seeing in the markets, right? It's just a bit of what I'm doing. Please take it with a pinch of salt. It's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor to advise you on what to do with your money. So take it, do what you want with it, but be accountable for your own actions. Okay. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. So so what I'm seeing on Bitcoin is let's start from the weekly chart, because I think high tide is important. So what we can see is we've had a bullish candle there, right? And that was a signal that we're going to go up. Okay, so we've gone up quite significantly. We've gone to 65,000. Now I also feel that we've got a level drop here. I mean, all this down here to here is one drop for me. That's a level drop 2, and then we've got a level drop 3 here, right, with a bullish candle. So it's looking good, and I do expect that the bottom is in, and this 48,880 is probably the bottom, only to be slightly exceeded if it has to. Only to be slightly exceeded if it has to. But I don't think it does. I don't think we're going to exceed this particular candle here. Although I do have an alert here around 47.9. I think if things get crazy, we could have us coming back there. But for now, I think it's we've got a weekly green bullish candle here, reasonable volume. So you can assume that we are definitely going to go up. However, I see a pullback, because there's no doubt. I can't really draw a lower high here, and so where's my lower high to go up? And I'm just going to show you an example here, right? So if we go back to let's go back. Let me make this bigger. So when we go back to the 2021 setup, right? So 2021 setup, and I've got these dead cross measurements as well, which obviously is played out really well. But if we go here and look at that setup from the previous, when we hit in 2021 April, when we hit the all-time high, initial all-time high, and we did our 3 levels. Level 1 drop there, this big candle into this one, so level 2 drop. What happened? We bounced off really strongly. So from here, we had like green, and almost hit here, which is probably the highest point. So we hit what, 41,413, and guess what happened after that? After that, we just came back down. We came 2 weeks down and tested that bottom that we formed here, which was 28,688. So you then just form this bullish candle, go up the following week, and just keep going. I do expect that we will pull back into next week and continue to pull back and form a lower high. This is 28,780. This is 28,688. So this is a lower high, right? And even then, we still, had another, another couple of weeks down first before we actually started going. So there's plenty of time to really buy the coins you want to buy. There's no need to, fall more into, oh, look, I've seen this bullish candle. Oh, we're going to go to the moon, and the following week you just come back down. So for me, and if you measure it, from here, from the bottom here, and say, how much was the move up? It's 40%. We moved 40% up. And then we dropped all the way from there to there. It's a 29% drop before we started going up again. And even then, we did a retest of it anyway. So for me, I think this same setup plays out. All the kind of, corrections in terms of, you form the big candle, you rise away from it, you bounce away from it, you come back and retest. It takes a while. Like another one here, 13th of June, low. We did a move from here, which is all the way there to about, it's another 43%. So we did 43% jump from the bottom, right? And then afterwards, guess what happened? We also did dump another 37% before we went up. So, these big volume candles, they tend to be recovered. You tend to recover them before the big moves happen, which obviously, and it was recovered, as you can see here. So we recovered it, and even this one here. So if we go and have a look at this big candle here as well, even that one was also recovered. Look, we exceeded it, 15,443, 15,462. So they tend to be recovered on lower volume selling. And it's the recovery on the lower volume selling that we should be really keen in terms of buying, because that is the real bottom, right? So if we bring it back here into where we are now and look at the setup, right? So what we can see here is, yes, we've come back down, big volume buying candle here, right? And we've gone up. So if we do a measurement from here to there, what's the percentage? 32%. So we've done a 32% rise. Okay, let's say we do a 40%. That goes to about somewhere around here, 68,000. Even a double top here will be, yeah, maybe we do a double top, at 69K. Maybe it's possible. That is also possible. It could happen. But afterwards, you're going to have your dump back in. You're going to have your dump all the way back. And I'm kind of estimating maybe somewhere here around 53K. I think 53K is the sort of kind of margin that I'm looking for. I think 63K it will be good. Even 52K, but I will not discount as going below this body candle slightly, maybe 48.4, maybe 48.3, something like that, on a low volume selling. Low volume selling with a bullish candle, that will be my cue that, okay, yes, we are definitely going to go somewhere from here. So I think it's looking really promising in terms of breaking the back of the move to the downside, but I don't think that, we are off to the races just yet. I think we'll play around here for a while. I think maybe September, we'll just keep bouncing around here, keep bouncing around here in September, sideways, come back down and maybe retest it. So that's what I'm looking for in terms of setup. We've also got these volume candles, which most of the time when they come up, they tend to be recovered. These big selling volume candles here, price always goes below it. So, I'm looking out for that as well. So this one here, price didn't go below it. This one, price hasn't gone below it. Yeah, so I put my red candle, red face there. So if we'd gone below it, that would have been good. So that tells me this move is a false move, right? And then also, as you can see, all the big red ones are recovered. Like you go below it first. Even this one, we didn't go below it. So it's a question mark as well for me. This one here as well, we didn't go below it. Normally you would have expected us to go below it. So these candles here, this here, and this one, which hasn't been recovered, this hasn't been recovered, this hasn't been recovered, they tell me that, and they are volume red candles. So you can see these are all big volume red candles. That's a big volume. This one is a big volume. Price is more likely to come below it before we go. So what we see now on this 4-hour setup is, I'm seeing here is we could potentially go up, double top at 64,995, or actually we could just top out here around 64.3, 60, maybe 60, 64.4, and then cascade ourselves down. We're going to have a golden cross, so price normally will bleed into the golden cross, and I think by then hopefully price would have fallen to about somewhere here, maybe 62.1, somewhere here. Price falls to about here. We get a golden cross, gives us a lower high, and then continue cascading down. So that's what I'm looking for anyway. That's the setup. Of course, if you're buying coins for your spot bag, buying at the prices on some of the altcoins is okay. Yeah. So that's Bitcoin out of the way. So my target for Bitcoin for the week is I do expect I expect a fall around the 60,060, or let's call it 57,500. So somewhere here, 60,000 here, and between there. So here and here is where I expect Bitcoin to fall to in the coming week. If it doesn't happen this week, towards the end of the week, I would expect it to happen. So that's my view on Bitcoin. So let's look at some of the coins, altcoins. So TIA is one of my favorite coins. So buying it for my spot bag, trading as well. So I like TIA. I think it will do really well. However, based on the 4-hour setup, what we can see here is TIA has he's done these kind of big moves to the upside. I'd probably say one level there. It's gone up here, level 2, and then it's gone and done a big level 3, right? So we got our 3 push-ups here. We're going to have a golden cross, so price will bleed into it. So I expect more downside action on TIA, but price probably gets up to about 5.9, maybe at top here 604, between here and here, from a lower high, and then bleed backwards downwards, right? So that's what I'm seeing. But ultimately, I expect here this volume candle hasn't been this big volume candle here. We don't have any candle going below it yet, so I do expect that this and this as well, equally this was not recovered. So you can see all these big candles, price goes below it. This one, look at it, big candle, price goes below it. So from here onwards, we have this one here and we have this one. Price hasn't gone below it, so I expect the price to come back down at some point into it. So that's what I'm looking for on TIA. After this mini bounce, I expect this to come back down. Yeah. So that's TIA for you there. Let's look at PENDLE. PENDLE is another one that I'm trading as well. So PENDLE. Now PENDLE, what you have here is we've got some divergence on 4 hours. So I think price will go up a little bit more. I think price goes up to maybe here, 56, maybe 55, 56, somewhere there. Price goes there. Let's move our alert somewhere there. I think price goes somewhere here. Go a little bit lower, maybe 56. Price goes there, and then continues its journey back down, back into the dead cross, which is going to be formed, right? So that's PENDLE, and again, if you look at these big volume candles, you can see we've got some not recovered. Look at this one here. So big volume candle, it's not been recovered. It's probably the only one. There's one here as well. So this one hasn't. Okay, this one was a double top, right? Double bottom, 25182, 25185. So again, it wasn't recovered, but it was as close as possible, but it's not been recovered yet. So again, that's another one that's not been recovered. And all the others that I can see, that's been recovered, that's been recovered, that move has been recovered. This move has not been recovered yet. So, we've got 251, we've also got 269. So price will definitely revisit this place at some point in the coming days. Maybe towards the end of the week, probably, it gets to that point. So that's what I'm seeing on Pendle. And then let's look at render. So render is a very interesting one. So as you can see, render is going up to do, it's poked above, which is what I was expecting it to see. It's a poke above, so it's done that. It's gone above it, and I would expect that maybe it hits somewhere here 660, somewhere 660, yeah, 660 area, if we're lucky, and then cascade back down into the, we don't have a dead cross on this one. We don't have a dead cross on this one, but I do expect after the moves, that whole move is one, that's two, and then we've had our third move, and then this is kind of like I call it a switchback, right? So we're having our switchback. So I expect it to come back down. I expect render to come back down at the very least to the 50-day moving average before we go anywhere. I think there are some candles, some big volume candles, which haven't been recovered. This one here hasn't been recovered, but it's not a big volume, so but this one is a big volume, it's been recovered, so that's good. So render looks clean on the 4-hour chart, but you don't have a proper lower high around here. There's no proper lower high here, and I think if Bitcoin falls, then all of them will come back into those zones again. So that's what I'm looking for on render. And then last but not the least, PEPE. I give you PEPE. Let's have a look at PEPE, see what's going on with PEPE. So PEPE is right. So what you've got here on PEPE, let's just look at this setup. So PEPE, you've got a level rise there, and then we've got our final rise here. So we've got 3 push-ups clearly. Even from here, we've got 1, 2, and 3. So 3 push-ups, maybe a lower high. Price can come all the way to here, 955, or it could poke itself above to somewhere here, 996. Even 1002 is possible, right? 1002 is even possible. But after that, I do expect price to come down. Normally when you see on the daily chart, when you have volume, so when you see the volume, so if I just make it bigger, you can see, hold on, come on. Okay, so normally when price goes up, you want to be seeing increase in volume, right? So when volume is declining, that's not good. This is good volume, go up, lower volume. So if this pokes above here on lower volume still, that's a good shorting opportunity. Currently, you should be looking for a shorting opportunity because volume is declining on a higher time frame on the daily chart. So again, there's a big candle here, it's not being recovered. So if you look at this, that is not being recovered, that is not being recovered. Those key big volume candles which haven't been recovered are telltale signs that price will come back into that zone. So that's what I'm looking for on PEPE. I do expect that PEPE will go below. It goes below 7.5. So this candle here, 7.68. I think 7.5. It goes below this candle. So that's what I'm looking for on PEPE. After a mini rise to the upside, maybe rises to that 10.2, maybe 9.5, somewhere there, and comes back down. So that's what I'm looking for on PEPE. That's all I've got for you guys. Okay, actually, let me just quickly look at Dixie, because Dixie is quite interesting and kind of has an impact on this whole market of the way it's looking. I use the daily chart. It's easy. It's much easier. So when price goes up, what I like to see is waves, right? Waves in prices. So all this down here, rise one wave. All this down here, all the way down is 2, right? 2 wave. And then you've got your last leg to the downside, right? So we've got our last leg to the downside. All that I want to see on this daily chart, and we're going to have a dead cross. is I want to see price go below this body candle slightly. So maybe 9. So I've got a target of 995 somewhere here, 99 somewhere here, 997, maybe 997, 995 at worst, 995 to 97, anywhere in between here. Price goes below it and recovers this candle, then you're going off in terms of coming back all the way back here to 1036 and then maybe break that, but we'd have to wait to see. This has been recovered, so the only big candle left is this that needs to be recovered on the daily chart. If we go on the 4-hour chart, what you can see is this big volume candle has been recovered on lower volume, and so if we would need to recover this volume candle as well. So what I want to see is price go below it, so what, 100, 200. So there's anywhere here, 100, 99.5, 99.5, 99, 99.5, 9.95, anywhere here price hits and it will bounce and will be going up, because it's completed the level drops. But I don't think this is the end in terms of a fall yet on the Dixie. I think after this it bounces all the way back up to somewhere here, 1.3, maybe call it 1.037, somewhere there, because in the grand scheme, what I want to see is from the peak, all this is one drop, right? If you're breaking it down, you can get 3 drops within that. You then go up, and then all this here, breaking below this, is 2. So after 2, you're going to bounce up, right? Now, I don't expect us to go and exceed this, no. So like I'm saying, price probably gets to about here, 104, something like that. And because Dixie is going to be bouncing up, all the equities are going to go up and they will pull back into forming their last drop, right? Whilst the Dixie goes on a mini run, right, in between probably next week and somewhere in the middle of September somewhere, right? And then cascades back down. So when it cascades back down, it's going to cascade all the way below here. And I've got a 95 target from that 103 to about 95. So whilst all the equities are going up towards the end of the year, maybe October, November, December, the Dixie will be coming back below 100. Maybe it falls about to 90, 95, 92, somewhere there, and by then they would have gone on their run into next year. And it then bounces properly up and it's going to go really, really high, and go and exceed this particular top. So that's kind of the play I'm looking at from a long-term perspective. But in terms of next week, I expect some minor downside on Dixie and then a bounce up to maybe the 10, I got my target here, 103. So that's what I'm looking for on the Dixie. So it's kind of informing my kind of trading decisions also on the equities as well, and ties in with that final drop that we're going to see on Bitcoin. So that's all I've got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like the content, if you like the kind of alpha, please click that subscribe button if you're new, and click the like button as well, so that we can get this out to as many people as possible. All right, have a great week. God bless. Enjoy trading. All right, bye-bye.